Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to restore an original Nintendo to full working order. Now what happens with these units, usually, is the pins inside stop working, so let's go ahead and hook this up. Push it down, shut it, and I'll turn on the power. Looks like I have a flashing red light here, so let's go ahead and shut that off. Here's the cartridge, and some people blow into the cartridge like this. You really don't want to do that because that can actually add moisture to the contacts from your breath, and if anything comes out with it. These were released in 1985 in North America, so that means that this system is aging to around 32 years old. And so far the system still works great, it powers on. However, it is a monumental pain to get the games to work. And part of that is due to a design flaw that's in the original Nintendo. Believe it or not, this is actually exclusive to any Nintendo released outside of Japan, because the Japanese Famicom had the top loading slot. But because video games had earned a bad rap after the collapse of Atari in the early 1980s, Nintendo was trying to sell consoles like a toy rather than a game console. And to do this, they wanted to look like that it belonged next to your TV. Now, a common appliance next to your TV would have been a VCR. And at the time, the classic VCRs required you to insert a tape and then press it down before you played. So Nintendo decided, why not do that with their consoles? So in the original Nintendo, when you open up the slot for the cartridge, and you take your regular Nintendo cartridge, and you put it in the slot, you have to press down before pressing power. Later on, Nintendo realized that this was actually a vital flaw in the device, because after so many times of pushing up and down on a cartridge, the pins inside of the cartridge, where the cartridge makes contact with, would eventually start to bend. And after a while, it renders the console useless. Anyone who has one of these consoles will need to replace the pins to have them go through. So we're going to replace the pin connector in this system. So let's go ahead and get started with a teardown of the original Nintendo. To complete this repair, you're going to need a few tools. First, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, along with a game and controller to test it out when you're finished. And you're going to need one of these 72 pin connector replacements. I'll put a link down in the description. But once you have those tools, you can go ahead and flip over the Nintendo and go ahead and start disassembly. We'll start with the screws on the back. Once you have those screws out, the bottom should just lift off from the top and expose the console. The next step is you're going to need to remove the RF shield. And once that is released, you can go ahead and start work on removing the cartridge slot. Now this next piece is going to be the 72 pin connector. And here's a look at the logic board. Alright, now we're going to take our replacement 72 pin connector and slide it gently onto the board. Once that's done, you can go ahead and reassemble the console. Before I got it all the way back together, I decided to give it a quick test to see if it would work. Alright, first try. Alright, let's plug this thing in and give it a trial run. I do not push the cartridge down. And it should work. Oh yeah, the console now works flawlessly. And wait, wasn't there another game on there? Few people today remember the clay shooting round, but this was actually my favorite. Now you don't want to push the pins down anymore because that will just bend the pins again over time. The console will work just fine without pushing the cartridge down. You may also notice that the console now has a death grip on your cartridge, so you'll have to work it out a little bit more than you usually would as well. Believe it or not, this is how all Nintendos used to function when they were brand new. Another good maintenance tip is to make sure that the pins on your cartridge are cleaned with a little bit of rubbing alcohol before inserting it into your console. This will make sure that the pins inside the console also stay clean. Now make sure not to use anything too strong on these pin contacts, because if you use like the cleaning alcohol that I use on some of my other consoles, that will actually take the pins completely off and ruin your cartridge. So make sure you don't use anything stronger than just over-the-counter rubbing alcohol. I'm sorry to say that I learned this from experience. Here is a cartridge that I accidentally cleaned with the stronger alcohol that I used to clean case plastic, and it took the copper pins completely off and rendered this cartridge useless, so I had to go out and buy another copy. Well, I had a lot of fun doing this project. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Remember that if you like what you see, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. You can follow me on Facebook or Twitter, or you can find me on p1start.com. Again, thanks for watching.